Okie dokie guys, so today we're up to talking about dimensions. So you should have your getting started exercise all complete up to this point. So we can see here already that I've got all my information and it's all in layers. Alright, so what we want to start doing is we want to start dimensioning. Okay, if you are on a PC, we want to change to the Annotate tab for our ribbon. If you're on a Mac, it's 2016 or older, you want to choose, come over here to our tool sets and change from drafting to annotation. Okay, if you're on a newer version of AutoCAD for Mac, just scroll down on this, okay, and the window will extend. So here we're looking at our dimensions. And what we want to use is this one here called Dim Linear. Okay, so we click on it. Now when we're drawing dimensions, we really have to keep in mind our snap points. Okay, so first of all I'm just going to change my layer over here to dimensions. And I'm going to zoom in because I'm going to dimension across the top here. Now first of all you want the overall dimension the furthest away. Okay, so we come to our snap point at the end, we hover our mouse over it, we do not click. We drag up and we get our snap tracking. Then we click to specify the first point of the dimension. We drag across, come down, hover our mouse, acknowledge the snap point again, drag up to our snap tracking and we get the white X with the green dashed line. Then we click to specify our second dimension. And then we can pull our dimension and create our leader lengths as long as we want them. There you can see here. So generally they're meant to be equal on either side. So if I click, this is my dimension. Now somewhere in the middle here is some really tiny text. Okay, which is not really what we're after. And these dimensions aren't looking exactly the way we want them to. Okay, in terms of their style. So what we need to do is we need to format our dimension style, okay, or manage our dimension styles if we're on a PC. I'm going to click Format, Dimension Style. Okay, and this one is going to come up. Now, first of all, we need to select 1 to 50. Okay, because that is what we're going to be using. I'm going to select Dim 50 here actually. And this is the one that we want to be using. So first of all, let's come down to our cog here and we want to say Modify. And we will be brought to this screen. You want to make sure that you're in the Lines tab first of all. So this drawing's in 1 to 50, so we need to make sure that what we're modifying is in 1 to 50. Okie dokie. So we're now in our lines here. Color, I'm going to change this to white. Line type is by layer. Line weight is by layer. Alrighty. Then here we have our baseline spacing. I'm going to change this to 10. Okie dokie. I'm going to come here and I'm going to change this to white as well. And by layer, by layer, by layer, that's fine. This is going to be 2. And offset from origin, we want to be 0. And we don't need this ticked. Alrighty, so this is our first page. So when you're going to come to symbols and arrows, we want to change tick to oblique. Arrow size I'm going to change to 2. Break size I'm also going to change to 2. Mark in the middle, size 2, jog angle 45. We want our arc symbol length preceding our dimension text. And our jog height factor is going to be 2 as well. Alrighty, so then we move to text. I'm going to change sans serif to Arial. I'm going to choose text color. I'm going to choose white. Fill color, none. Text height, I might make 4. Alrighty. And then we want a placement, vertical above, horizontal center, view direction left to right, and offset from dim line, I'm going to change it to 2. And then over here, alignment, we want aligned with dimension line. Then we're going to come over to fit. Okay. And we're going to say either text or arrows best fit. Okay. And then we want to say over dimension line without leader. And this is really important. Use of overall scale in this case is 50. Okay. Because the scale that we're using is 1 to 50. Okay. Then we're going to jump over to primary units. And round off we want 0. Okay. Scale factor is 1. Units format is decimal degrees. Precision is 0. Okay. So this is what we want. This is what we're wanting to look like. I'm thinking the text might be slightly too big, so I'm just going to change this back down to 2. Okay. Alright, when we're done, okay, we leave alternate units and tolerances because we don't need to use those. And what we're going to do is click OK. And then we're going to be brought back to this screen. And this little arrow here means that that is the dimension that's currently being used. We want this one here, dim to 50. So I'm going to click on my settings again and say set current. You guys can see that this is moved to dim 50, which means that when I draw my dimensions now, they're going to be set up at 1 to 50. So I'm going to hit close, and I'm going to come over to dim linear again, and the same thing. So acknowledge the snap point, drag up, get my snap tracking, click where I want it to start, drag along, down to the snap point at the end, drag back up, click, and then drag. And you can see here that my leader length is either really long or non-existent. We want it to be equal. Okay, so clicking to about this point. Alright, and so now this dimension is looking really good. This one here we don't need, so I'm just going to click on and hit delete. Okay, so I can then, if I want to, I could click on this and I could move it. Okay, remembering you need this, really important to keep snap tracking in mind in this case. I can click on my dimension, and if I hover over the snap point or above my text, I can move my text anywhere I need it to go if I need to, and there are other options. Okay, move with leader, above dim line, center vertically, stretch, things like that. Okay, so I'm going to continue to use my dimensions. Okay, and I'm going to dimension. I want to continue my dimensions across. Okay, so you can either go dimension and you can hit continue, or you can come over to your tool sets over here and hit continue there. And it continues from the point where you just clicked and left off. Alright, so I've acknowledged this snap point. Now I want my leader lines to be the same, so I'm going to come back, acknowledge this leader, click here again, and you can see that it's continuing. Okay, so it's all about your snap points and how you draw your lines. And then once you're done, you hit escape. Okie dokie. So we can continue adding dimension lines for as many as we need. Okay, now we can see here, if I zoom in, that the 240 and the 90 are sitting above. This means they don't have enough space. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come here and say move text only. If I take auto off, you can see I can move my text. I'm going to acknowledge the snap point in the middle of this 2000, drag across to get my snap point so it's all in line, and tick just here. Okay, I'm going to do the same with the 90. Potentially. Text only, and just to the outside so it's looking nice and neat. Okay, I'm going to make sure they're in the right layer so I can click on them, and yes, they're in my dimensions layer. Okie dokie, so that is how you draw dimensions. Now I'm going to come back in here to format. And you can see that there's some different dimension styles already here for you. Okay, we've just set up the 1 to 50. Now for your assignment, you guys will need to set up the 1 to 20, 1 to 10, and 1 to 5. Okay, every time you start drawing dimensions, say for your plan for your assessment, you will need to come to 1 to 20 and you need to set it as current so that when you start drawing in that, it's to scale. Okay, you need to do that for your section at 1 to 10 and your detail at 1 to 5 also. Okay, so just remember to do that. You need to format them as well using the same formatting options that we just went through. Okay, your overall scale will just be 20 or 10 or 5 depending on which scale you're setting up. Okie dokie, that is how we draw dimensions and format them in CAD.